So what does this mean for us? Let's bring in John Bolton, the former United States ambassador to the United Nations and a Fox News contributor who joins us every Sunday at about this time. Good morning, Ambassador.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Well, you know, Israeli President Shimon Peres says an attack on Iran is, quote, closer, and he says more and more likely. Do you think it will happen?
Well, I think unless Israel is prepared to live with Iran with nuclear weapons, the answer is yes, they will attack. As in the past, they attacked Syria's nuclear reactor in September of 2007 and Saddam Hussein's nuclear reactor in 1981. And let me just say, this is not hard for Israel at this point. We know where the facilities are, the uranium conversion facility at Esfahan, the uranium enrichment facility at Natanz. Esfahan is on the surface and unprotected. Natanz is buried, but IAEA inspectors have been all over it. This is within Israel's capabilities. Certainly it's true the United States could do it better. And what's also true is the more time that goes on, the greater the likelihood Iran will disperse and better protect additional duplicate facilities, which is why, in my opinion, Israel is going to need to strike soon and, in fact, should have struck long ago.
What if the Obama administration is against it?
Well, I think it'll be tough for the Obama administration. Israel's not going to ask our permission. The fact that Panetta couldn't get a straight answer is no surprise. It's been true for a long time. Israel didn't ask permission in September of 2007 before they struck that North Korean reactor in Syria. We'll know about it when bombs are falling on Esfahan and Natanz, is my judgment.
So you don't think that Jerusalem is going to give us a heads up?
Absolutely not, because they know that the consequences would be that under this administration in particular, it would simply give the White House advance notice and time to prepare to impose our own sanctions, as we have been implicitly threatening the last 3 years, not to rearm Israel, not to resupply them for planes and other equipment that will inevitably be lost if the Israelis strike.
And what about the Iranian reaction? Would they play victim, or would they unleash Hezbollah and Hamas?
Well, it's obviously uncertain, but if you go through the various possibilities, I think the most likely Iranian response is precisely to have Hezbollah and Hamas fire missiles into Israel targeting civilian populations. This is a very, very difficult decision for Israel to make and very, very risky. But remember, the alternative is not life as it is today. The alternative is Iran with nuclear weapons. So if you don't like Iran as it is today, imagine how much worse it would be once it gets nuclear weapons.
Oh, speaking of Iran today, let's take a look at a second at Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. When he sat down with me last year, they have always denied that they're pursuing nuclear weapons. They say they're doing this for electricity. Here's what he said when I asked him. Would you swear to Allah that you are not planning to build a nuclear bomb?
Is there a law that says I must swear to convince others? I have said on numerous occasions that we do not want an atomic bomb.
Well, it's always, who, us?
Yeah, well, there you go. What else do you need to hear, right? The fact is that there are many aspects of Iran's nuclear program that simply cannot be explained other than by their efforts to gain nuclear weapons. For example, these computer simulations of a nuclear detonation that the IAEA is apparently prepared to reveal on Tuesday. The United States has known about that for about 7 years or so, and it's the sort of activity that Iranian physicists don't engage in out of academic curiosity. This has been the reason for this program and the reason for Iran's ballistic missile program from the get-go.
Yeah, they say the reports are that on Tuesday the IAEA report will include computer models of potential nuclear warheads, some type of device where they think there could be explosions of nuclear matter. What else do you think will be revealed, and what will trouble you so much about what the IAEA will say?
Well, I think under Yuki Amano, the Japanese Director General of IAEA, who has been much more realistic, much more forthright than his predecessor, Mohammad al-Baradei, who was essentially an apologist for the Iranian program, a lot of this information the IAEA has had for some time. and that we and others have known about. You know, the IAEA isn't a spy agency. It gets a lot of its information from friendly governments. I'll just leave it at that. So this information now coming into the public domain, but after IAEA has scrutinized it, I think adds considerable credibility to the concerns we've had for a long time and shows why Ahmadinejad's denials are just pure fantasy.
All right, U.S. Ambassador John Bolton, thank you as always on this important issue. More evidence coming out this week from the United Nations. Thank you.